Elizabeth, it's so great to see you again. Thank you so much for meeting with us today.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
You bet. This is going to be wonderful. I love that we're matching. This is fabulous. It's like great minds think alike.
I love it.
It's awesome. Hey, we are so impressed by all the great things you're doing. You're such an incredible advocate, and I love that you are truly dedicated to help all of our children. So thank you for all that you do. You're amazing.
Oh, thank you. That's so kind of you to say. And the feeling is mutual. Thank you for what you do.
Oh, thank you. Yes, you seriously, so many people like you who've maybe been through a tragedy could just walk away and not stay involved. And I love and I'm honored to know you because you truly are fighting this battle to protect our kids. And I love that. And I admire you and appreciate all of your hard work because I know it takes a lot to do that. So thank you for all that you do.
Oh, thank you. That's so kind of you to say.
You bet. Thank you so much. Well, we're so excited to hear about a little more about you and all the great things that you're doing. And I would love to maybe let our listeners hear about, I know that you are inspired by your own kids. And so what do you teach them to help make sure that they're safe and protected?
Well, one of the biggest things that I want my kids to know every day is that I'm the president of their fan club. I hope I'm their first tool that they turn to when they need something. So for me, I try to talk to them a lot just about being able to be open and have open communication and talk to me about the things that scare them or the things that bother them or the things that seem strange. And it's led to some interesting conversations, some frankly conversations I did not think I was ready for, still don't think I'm ready for. But I think that and I'm certainly by no means a parenting expert, just for the record. I'm still learning as I'm going.
We always are. That's the great part, right?
But I think it's just so important to have that communication there because then if that is open, then they can tell you things that might be red flags that they wouldn't recognize and you can talk about it. That being said, I attended a parenting conference a couple years ago, and one of the things that was said that I really loved was they talked about the bubble of safety and how you can teach your children this concept where they can come to you and say, I need the bubble of safety, and they can tell you anything and you won't react emotionally. You won't overreact. You will just listen to them. You will try to help them in any way you can. And then 24 hours after they initially tell you, that's when you can react. I mean, many times there are natural consequences, so you might not need to take further action, but sometimes that might be appropriate. But that cannot take place until 24 hours after. And I think that's so good because I think of, and I try to practice that with my kids, but I think of, one of the recent incidents that come to mind. First of all, I hate slime. Whoever invented it, I hate you.
I totally agree. It's so nasty.
I have white carpet in my basement, which wasn't
your choice.
We bought the house. It came that way.
Right. I get it.
And someone gave my kids blue slime.
Oh,
and
that's horrible.
They dropped it on the carpet or they put it on the carpet, and it wasn't a spot that I just would immediately see. So I don't know how long it actually sat there for, but it dried on the carpet. Oh. And I had to come in with a kitchen knife and try to scrape it up. And then I was scrubbing on my hands and knees trying to get this blue stain out of my carpet. I mean, I didn't get all of it out, but I was pretty upset when I came across it because I have told my kids and told them no food, no juice, no slime. There's just a no slime rule in our house. And none nothing downstairs on the white carpet. And so I was like, who did this? I was like, was it you? And of course they're like, not me, not me. And I was like, I know it's one of you.
Exactly.
So, I mean, like, I had emotional reaction.
Right.
And in their minds, they're probably thinking, oh my gosh, well, if that's how she reacted to like some slime on the carpet, this other thing's really big. Do I really want to tell her?
Right.
And like I'm a work in progress myself. So like I'm trying to like keep in mind perspective, but sometimes my emotion gets the better of me.
Absolutely.
And that's why I think this bubble of safety concept is so important, because I have like had multiple conversations with my kids about it. I'm sure I'll continue because I want them to tell me these things, but I also recognize why they maybe wouldn't want to if I just reacted over a stain on the carpet.
So true.
So I think that was really good information. And I just think keeping those lines of communication open are key to all future safety. So I am definitely still working on it, and I am definitely open to other suggestions that other people have.
I love it. That is so great. That's a great story. That reminds me one time my daughter was little, and I remember we were moving and we found like this big old spot that she had taken like fingernail polish and it stuck into the carpet. So it totally reminded me of that. We were like, oh my gosh, how do you get rid of that? How do you fix that?
Yeah, I mean, to this day, we still have a bit of a stain there, even though we've had it like professionally cleaned and like I've certainly scrubbed at it, but that stain is there to stay.
Exactly. It's a good memory, right?
Well, it's a memory.
Exactly. But a learning opportunity, right? So yes. And so I think that's probably, like you said, from a safety perspective, it's a good learning opportunity for us to like how we can teach our kids. And I love what you're doing about having that open communication, because I think that's the key, right?
Absolutely.
That they feel comfortable with you.
Yeah.
Yeah. They can tell you anything, and that's what we want so that we can support and help them. So I love that. That's the greatest advice ever. So I love that. So thank you. That's the number one thing, is that we can be there.
Absolutely. I mean, I think actually I'd go a step further, and I'd say probably the number one thing is to make sure your child knows that you love them unconditionally. And then I'd say the next thing is making sure we're keeping those lines of communication open.
Definitely. Then that way they know they're loved and they can tell you anything.
Yeah.
Yes, that's fantastic. Thank you. That's a great story. So yes, what about, I know that you're a big advocate of trafficking, helping prevent trafficking. And I know that's something that we're talking about today. And I love that you're an advocate to help share that this dirty, dark secret, I call it. A lot of people don't want to talk about it, that it happens in our own homes, our own neighborhoods. And again, it's just something we don't want to recognize because it's so dark, I guess is a good word. And so we want to bring the light to that. And so I know that you've been helping like educate people on that. What advice would you give to people, like if they suspect that maybe they see somebody that's being trafficked, or they know of a friend or something that things don't seem right? What is your advice?
Call the police. Use the resources that we have. We do have resources, and let's utilize them. I would say first, call the police. I mean, don't put yourself directly in danger, and don't endanger the suspected victim more. So call the police, let them know of your suspicions, and let them take it from there. That would be my first thing. But I also think it's really important just to talk about, I think that we've seen in the media more and more like this picture of trafficking, and it looks like it would be so recognizable straight off the bat, or you think of it and you're like, oh my goodness, people are being chained to beds, or it's just like a revolving door, person coming in, person after person having sex. Now, I'm not saying that doesn't ever happen.
Right.
But I also think it's not always like that blatant. I mean, you could be seeing it every day and maybe not recognize it. I mean, it's not always going to be just like that in your face obvious
It's so true.
that trafficking is occurring. And so being able to watch for the signs, paying attention to how you feel, paying attention to small details that just don't seem quite right.
I think people have the misconception that trafficking is like in the movies, that this white creepy van pulls up, these guys jump out and they, take the person, the lady, and sell them to another country. And they're the sex slave. And that's not reality. Unfortunately, the real reality is here, like in Utah, in our little towns, these things are happening where people are being trafficked. And like you said, it's like your neighbor, your friend, your family member that you don't realize, and they may give off little signs, and listen to your intuition. Because you're right, if there's like little things that don't make sense, then definitely, like you said, notify law enforcement, call 911, see something, say something. Definitely there is the trafficking hotline, and we'll put that up there for people so that they can do that, or go to WAM Safety and we have all that information similar so that you can get the support and help that you need. And like you said, don't put yourself in danger.
And I just also want to talk a little bit about like the victims themselves. I mean, I think a lot of victims come under fire because maybe they are left alone on occasion, or maybe they're brought out into public. And I mean, I certainly know that I've been like, people have been like, well, you were brought out in public by your captors. Why didn't you scream? Why didn't you yell? And I think a lot of other victims have been questioned the same way. Like, you had a car. Why didn't you just get in and drive away? You had this, you had that. Why wouldn't you just scream? Why wouldn't you just go for help? And I think there's a lot of circumstances that you really need to take into account. First of all, we don't know exactly what the situation is. We don't know what's being held over them, what power their trafficker is holding over them. We don't know if they have children and the trafficker is holding on to the children, or if the trafficker is holding on to their ID, or if the traffickers threatened their life. I mean, that was my case. My captors, for 9 months, they threatened to kill me. They threatened to kill my family. And for 9 months, they had a long time to really establish control and show me just how capable they were of hurting me. So when I see these other survivors, or when I meet with them and I hear them say, well, I didn't ever want to say anything because I just didn't think I would be believed. I mean, first of all, believing a survivor is huge. I mean, how you respond to a person when they disclose, I think really can set the tone for whether they go on to get help and live a healthy life, or whether they just decide to shut down and keep it inside them and quite literally have it destroy them from the inside out. So how we respond is a big deal. But then also just like understanding that anything could have happened up until this point. And there are the natural trauma responses, which are fight, flight, freeze, and appease. And a lot of people really confuse appeasement with Stockholm syndrome, which that's not the case. I mean, appeasement really is doing whatever you have to do to survive. So if that means going out in public and doing what your trafficker or your captor tells you to do, because in your mind that is the only way to survive, that's what you do. And then when you take into account that 1 out of every 1,000 predators is actually prosecuted, I mean, those are terrible odds.
Yes.
So if you are aware of that, or your perpetrator or trafficker is someone who is respected in the community, or seems to have a lot of money, or seems to have a lot of power, it just feels like, why would they believe me over this person? Who is going to believe me over them? And it can be an incredibly difficult situation to be in, not only to disclose, but even within our legal courts to actually prosecute, to actually convict. And so also thinking of longevity, if I report this and this person isn't taken into custody, if this person isn't convicted, what are the repercussions further in my life? Are they going to come back after me? Are they going to come after my friends? Are they going to come after my children or my family? I mean, there is so much to take into consideration that it is not fair or just for any of us to sit and question victims and be like, well, you had a car. Why didn't you just get in your car and drive away? And I just also want to note that when you say the words, why didn't you? The victim will never hear like curiosity. They will never hear it as a question. They will hear it as you should have. They will hear it as them being blamed for not doing enough to get away or to survive, when in reality, I mean, they did what they felt was best in that moment for survival. And we should all just be happy that they did that, that they're still here with us, because so many other victims who do everything right, they're not.
Yeah, exactly. I agree with you. And you're right. That's the scary part, is these predators hide in plain sight. And that's why we have to bring this to light, to let people know this really does happen. And we have to believe and we have to support those survivors, because you're right, because none of us have been in that situation and we don't know how we would respond. And you're threatening everything that means the world to them, their family. And that's a horrible situation. And a lot of these people, like you said, they're in powerful positions, and they blend in and you would never suspect in our legal system. And I think that's why I'm excited to team up with you on helping, especially here in our own state, to change the laws, because I'm excited that we're going to do some great things to help protect our children. So I'm so excited to spend some time with you today. So thank you so much for coming and joining us and going through the crazy weather to make it here and the crazy incidents of a chipped over car to make it here.
Of course, we didn't miss it.
You're amazing. Thank you so much for being such an incredible example. You're a leader. You're truly a warrior. And thank you for all that you're doing to fight to protect our kids. So thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
You bet. Thanks, Elizabeth.